Well, this is it, guys. It's time to finally do the tenacity and crowd control video. I've been dreading making this for a few days, but you guys wanted to see me make this. So I'm doing my best, and I apologize because this will seem a little bit ranty, but this is the best I can do. Because this is a very complicated thing, needlessly complicated to the point of actually just being silly. So a lot of times here, I've done like 20 takes on this. I'm going to break down and cry because this is so needlessly complicated, and I've played this game for 12 years. For those of you who are new to League of Legends and those of you who are coming to this video to try to learn this topic, I promise I'll get you through this. We're gonna get through this together. Just give me some cry breaks because this stuff is just stupid. Now, I've done this take a lot of times. There are two ways to do this. The first way, and you might be thinking that you could go watch a video and get through 2 minutes of the video and think, perfect. I've looked up tenacity and crowd control for 2 minutes and I know exactly how it works now. I'm perfect, I'm done, I'm brilliant, okay? No, you won't be, because you cannot go through it in 2 minutes. On the other hand, going through it in 2 hours is boring and stupid. So I will not be going through it for 2 hours. To describe a good example of what I could go through for 2 hours that would be very boring and not really affect anything, that would be totally useless information to learn, is to learn that a polymorph is actually just a silence. Now you might be wondering, if Lulu's polymorph is just a silence, can I not attack? Why am I slowed? Because Lulu's polymorph is actually 3 different CCs lassoed together. Polymorph, which is just silence, and a slow, and a disarm. It does 3 different things. Why is that impactful? Why is that important? Because technically, if you are immune to slows via something like Master Yi's ultimate, you can immune the slow on polymorph, but still be disarmed and still be silenced. Is that important to know? Not really. Now, actually, it is important to know, because if you are Master Yi in his ultimate and you're immune to slows and you get feared, you run the opposite direction. But a fear also has a slow attached to it. The slow is not part of the fear, it is an additional crowd control effect. So, technically, Master Yi will just bolt away like Usain Bolt, and he will just run in the opposite direction and clear 2 screens before the fear is done. That is important to know for one champion. So I could go over all this for 2 hours. I promise you I'll try to get into this video the most I can without getting into extremely stupid details that are dumb. So what is tenacity? Tenacity, or crowd control reduction, is a stat that reduces the durations of all incoming crowd control status effects, except, I'm not going to go into the except part right now. So if you're being stunned too much, you want to go tenacity. That's the general idea. There are multiple ways to get tenacity. For now, it is mostly unflinching, which is a rune, legend tenacity, which is a rune, and merc treads, which is an item. In the future, there will probably be more items or less items with tenacity. These things flip around a lot, okay? So I'm just having tenacity. Tenacity is also a stat on your character sheet, okay? So, tenacity stacks multiplicatively with itself, which means 30% tenacity and 30% tenacity will get you 51% tenacity. Now, as I go through this, you might be wondering to yourself, Hashinshin, what is this? Are you just reading me the wiki? That's dumb. I wanted to know more. I can go to the wiki. That's fair. Go to the wiki. Do it. Do it. Go learn all this shit on the wiki. Do it. No, you won't. You'll listen to me. Okay. So, tenacity stacks multiplicatively. Good. We all know that, correct? And for those of you who think I might be skipping, again, I'm having a little thing. If you think I'm skipping forward and back, I've done this a lot, and again, I'm on like my 25th take. I'm trying to get you guys through this, but there's so many rules and oddities and things that if I went over all of them, I would never get anywhere because I would constantly be stopping. So tenacity stacks multiplicatively. 30% tenacity and 30% tenacity becomes 51% tenacity. You cannot stack to 100%. You can't just stack 30, 30, 30, and 10 and make it 100%. You can't do that. But technically, some tenacities do stack additively. So technically, if you have unflinching, an elixir of iron, and 4 items with Sunfire Aegis, at low HP, you will get 75% tenacity. Why? Because these are all type B. Within a type, all tenacity stack additively, so long as they're within the type. Well, you might be wondering to yourself, Why? Why? Because they just do. They just do. So to give you a second example, if you had Silvermere Dawn, which gives you 40% tenacity, and you had Merc Treads, you would get to 70% tenacity. You would, for a brief moment of time of, 3 seconds, be able to turn a 2-second stun into a 0.6-second stun. Why? You just can. You just can. Because they're type A. Is this important information to know? Not really, but sometimes it could be. For example, if you know that Elixir of Iron and Unflinching are two things that stack together, or Sunfire Aegis and Unflinching are two things that stack together, you could, kind of get a little bit more tenacity than you would otherwise be expecting. In the past, there were also other effects, other ways to do things. For example, Garen's Courage in the past had other Type C tenacities that stacked with it, effectively allowing Garen to get nearly, I believe, 100% tenacity. That's good, correct? We'll go into this later. 100% tenacity cannot exist. Even if you had 100% tenacity, you would not have 100% tenacity. I'll get into this later. Okay, so tenacity reduces CC by percent. You have 50% tenacity, a 2-second stun becomes a 1-second stun. Good, correct? So what doesn't tenacity affect? For the most part, the most common thing tenacity will not affect is airborne. Airborne is a knock up or a knock back, just to be clear. The game plays entirely on a 2-dimensional plane. If you are knocked up, you're not technically knocked up. Your character never moves. It's just a visual thing. Why? Because. Just because. Don't make me try to get into this. So, a knock up is just a stun. Your character in-game, your hitbox is standing completely still. You are stunned. You're just moving visually, but not actually in-game, and it's not affected by tenacity. That's just it. What is a knockback? Now, knockback is basically just a stun that moves you and is not affected by tenacity. That's the best way I can explain it to you. What is Drowsy? This is not affected by tenacity. Drowsy is a slow that precedes a sleep, meaning Lalaya's ultimate or Zoe's sleepy time bubble. If you fall asleep, now that is effectively, once again, a stun that breaks on damage, but not all damage. Just don't ask, A sleep is always preceded by a drowsy. Drowsy is not reduced by tenacity, but the sleep is. Everybody got that? You don't got that? I hope you do, because it's this, yeah, okay. So kinematics. Now this is only Rel's ultimate. Most of you don't know who Rel is because she is extremely low pick rate. She's the girl on the little horsey that's also like an iron horsey, and yeah. In fact, honestly, is there really even a point to explaining this? The majority of you will never see Rel in your life. So, okay, Rel's ultimate that pulls you back, not affected by tenacity. Most of you probably didn't think it was. Nearsight, something commonly thought that is reduced by tenacity, but is not. Now, that is Graves' smokescreen, and that is Quinn's little birdie. That reduces your vision considerably. If you ever had an effect that reduces your vision considerably and you've thought to build tenacity, it doesn't work. Blind is different. Despite the fact that the community calls nearsight blind, that's not actually blind. Blind is only Teemo's Q. In the future, it might include other things. Now, Stasis is the ultimate CC. Sometimes it is bugged, and sometimes on some very specific patches, you can cleanse it or QSS it. It's not meant to do that. 99.999% of the time, you cannot remove Stasis. That is Zanya's Hourglass, and that is Bard's ultimate. That's when you go golden and you go shoo, you can't get out of that. It's gonna be, I think all of them are 2.5 seconds. In the future, they might not be. I'm trying to future-proof this video the best I can, but with how many specific rules Riot has and how many stupid little details change all the time. Yeah, so, okay, I'm doing my best here. So, Stasis basically is beaten by nothing. Why is it important what it's beaten by? Because then you have suppression. Now, this brings me to what suppression is. A suppression is a stun or knock up that is not removable. It's just, you can't reduce it by tenacity, you can't cleanse it. The summoner spell cleanse will not work on suppression. Everybody got that? However, there are 3 ways to remove CC. Remove scurvy. Well, actually, there's a lot more than 3. Okay, there's champion abilities that remove CC. So things like Olaf's ultimate, or remove scurvy from Gangplank when he eats the orange and he runs away and it's K. Okay. Cleanse and Quicksilver Sash. Now, Quicksilver Sash is the ultimate CC remover, except for other ones which actually do it better. I'm not gonna. It's the item that removes it, but it's actually not as strong as champion abilities. So, QSS will remove suppression. Cleanse will not. QSS will not remove airborne though, but some champion abilities actually can. So just don't ask. They just do. They just do. Don't ask me why. It would take too long. So, QSS removes all CC except for airborne and kinematics, and also it doesn't remove near sight, and it also doesn't remove stasis. But other than that, it removes everything. Now, we have Cleanse. Cleanse removes everything except all of these. Cleanse actually can't remove anything you can't reduce by tenacity. To my knowledge, if it's reducible by tenacity, you can cleanse it. If it's not reducible by tenacity, you can't cleanse it. So you cannot cleanse suppression. You have to actually buy an item and get that. Everybody got that? Cool. Now, what is Drowsy? You might be thinking to yourself, what is Drowsy? Drowsy, again, precedes sleep. So when you sleep, you go drowsy before it. If you remove Drowsy, you will not sleep. So if you cleanse the drowsy effect, the sleep will not happen. It's not that complicated because drowsy, you have to think about it, drowsy is what causes the sleep. So if you remove the drowsy, you remove the sleep. We kind of got through this pretty quickly. At least I'm hoping pretty quickly. Okay. Now, lastly, when I talked about tenacity and how much tenacity you can stack, actually, there's 2 more things I really should go over. That's probably a good idea. 2 more things. So, 2 more important things. What is a knockdown? And what is, you've probably noticed here, this duration cannot be reduced below 0.3 to 0.625 seconds. Okay, so League of Legends servers do not have high tick rates. There's a minimum duration on CC that is supposed to be 0.5 seconds. However, because the tick rate of the server, how much it updates its information, is really crappy, that 0.5 seconds is actually 0.3 to 0.625 seconds. Why is this relevant? Well, it means there's no such thing as 100% tenacity. If I literally at 100% tenacity, I still take 0.3 to 0.625 seconds on a crowd control effect. Only CC immunity can totally immune CC. You cannot immune it with tenacity. What does this mean? That means if you are affected by very low duration CC, often tenacity isn't really going to do anything against it. The best example of this is Kennen, the little lightning squirrel. His mini stuns are 0.5 seconds. So you put 2 and 2 together here. What does that mean? Tenacity will not affect Kennen's passive unless you do, and the server tick rate helps you. You've probably fought Kennen before, and it feels like sometimes his passive affects you for a while, and sometimes it seems to go over very quickly. Yeah, that's the server tick rate. This is one of those situations where I'm going to say, it just does. That's just how it works. I can't defend it. I can't explain it. It just does. Okay? It just does. So, oh boy. Now, there are some forms of CC in the game, some forms which are long duration, which try to mitigate the effects of extremely high tenacity. That is something like Alistar's Q and Scion's Q. Those are the, that's when Scion raises his axe and bashes you, and that's when Alistar bashes the ground with his Minotaur fists and knocks you up. Okay? Here's the thing. Scion's Q is a 1.25 second stun to a 2.25 second stun. That's good, right? So you'd want to get a lot of tenacity. However, it also does a 0.5 second knockup to a 1.0 second knockup. So if you have more than about 60% tenacity, it actually won't do anything to Scion's Q, because you'll actually just be knocked up for that amount. Is that important to know? Probably not. And that's where I'll end it, because there's lots of situations like this. It's going to go champion to champion. But there is something important, and this will hopefully be the last thing, and this is the thing I really need to explain, is a knockdown. What the fuck is a knockdown? This is important to know for anyone that has a mobility ability, anything like that. Now, we all know that knock-ups and knockbacks, airborne effects, those will cancel your movement, correct? Everybody has experienced that. You have played Jax, you have used a leap strike, you have been kicked by Lee Sin during that leap strike, it gets canceled, you move backwards, okay? That's simple. We all know that, correct? What you might not know, or probably did know, is that a knockdown effect stops your movement, brings you immediately to the ground, but isn't an airborne effect. These are pretty rare. They've only really been added into the game recently, in the last 5 or so years. There were some originally on suppression abilities, but they've been expanded, and yeah. So there, in the future, there might be more. So it's important to know this stuff, particularly for now, because it can get you killed if you don't know it. But in the future, there definitely might be more. A knockdown effect is on Ahri. A good example is Ahri. Her charm does a knockdown. What does that mean? That means if I'm in leap strike and I jump into Ahri and she charms me, if I'm in the middle of the air, I get immediately grounded. Not the grounding effect, but I get pulled to the ground. The leap strike is stopped. Now remember, there's only a 2-dimensional plane, okay? So basically what it's doing, it's not pulling me to the ground, it's basically forming a barrier, and my leap strike is going, eh. And then I'm stopped, okay? And then the charm effect hits me. There's not that many in the game, but it's a good idea to know who's going to knock you down. Ahri's charm, Amumu's ultimate, not his Q. His ultimate will knock you down, but his Q will not. His little throw the bandage stun, that will not knock you down, but his ultimate will. Jinx's traps, they will knock you down. If you try to jump over them, try to gap close through them, brick wall, rooted. Got it? Okay. Lissandra's ultimate, brick wall, stunned. Okay. Malzahar's ultimate, same thing. Sejuani's ultimate will not knock you down. I know you were all expecting me to say that. You said, all of you all got together and you said, oh, well, Amumu's stun doesn't knock down, but his ultimate does. So obviously, Sejuani's basic ability stun won't knock down, but her ultimate will. No, her ultimate will not knock you down, but her mini E-stun will. Why? It just does. That means if you're fighting Sejuani and she has a 4 stun stacks on you, and you try to leap strike away right as she throws a stun at you, it will knock you down and stun you and waste your movement. Why? It just does. I have no idea. Viger's cage, little stun cage, knockdown. We've all probably experienced that one, so this one's probably the most common to know. Vex's fear, knockdown. Warwick's fear, not a knockdown. Fiddlestick's fear, not a knockdown. Vex's fear, knockdown. Why? I don't know. Victor's little stunny cage, not even a cage, it's like a stunny field thing. That'll knock you down on the stun. Not before, not after, but right when you get stunned, knockdown. Remember, a knockdown, there's no 3-dimensional plane in League. It's all on flat ground. So technically, all it's doing is you're trying to jump out and it's going, nope, you're stunned, and you cancel your movement. Okay, cool. Warwick's ultimate, all suppressions to my knowledge, knockdown, with the exception of Mordekaiser's ultimate. Why? You might be asking to yourself, why will Mordekaiser's ultimate not knock down? Well, because it doesn't. Now, your second question is, wait, what the fuck? What did you just say? Yeah, Mordekaiser's ultimate is a suppression. Camille's ultimate is not a suppression. Mordekaiser's ultimate is a suppression. Got that? So you can remove Mordekaiser's ultimate with Olaf ult, with Gameplanks removes Scurvy, with QSS, the item. Those can remove Mordekaiser's ultimate because it is a suppression. They will not remove Camille's ultimate. Lastly, Yon's ultimate does a knockdown. You might be thinking to yourself, but why? Yon's ultimate doesn't knock back, so it would cancel your movement anyway. Who fucking knows? I don't know. I don't know why they bothered to add it to this. It doesn't make sense to me because it just okay. So yeah, I'm assuming at the very least that this will help most of you understand the tenacity system. Now, as we approach the end of this video, I'm gonna say the most common blunders that I see people do. Okay? Cleanse will not remove suppression. You cannot cleanse Warwick's ultimate. Okay? Do not use a gap closer into Ahri. Good Ahri players will just charm you and you'll lose your gap closer. Okay? You cannot cleanse knockups. You can't tenacity knockups, those just don't work. You can't cleanse nearsighted. You can't tenacity nearsighted. Another blunder is Malphite's little, what do they call it? Cripple. His cripple is affected by tenacity. Unless it's not. It sometimes changes. So when Malphite reduces your attack speed, you can technically go ahead and tenacity that to a lower duration. Unless you can't. Because, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize you can. They changed it at some point, and I don't know everything. So there's my little, example to you of even I don't know everything, and I've been playing this game for 12 years. This stuff changes a lot, and so I'm hoping this video helps you guys. So that's some common blunders, and I'm hoping this video does help you guys. I'm sorry if this video seems really ADHD, and I'm sorry if this video just seems really weird, because it's so hard to explain this stuff. It really is, because it's like every time I get to a topic, I want to explain why what I'm saying is wrong. But if I do that, I'm going to have to take 12 hours to make a video like this, because every time I get to a topic, every time I talk about for example, airborne, and I say you can't remove airborne. Well, I'm thinking to myself, well, actually you can if you're gangplank, or if you're, but then I think, but why is that relevant right now? Tenacity stacks multiplicatively. For the majority of you, it will. Legend tenacity, unflinching, merc treads, those stack multiplicatively with each other. So realistically, you cannot stack insane amounts of tenacity. You would have to go absolutely wild on it to get anywhere near 70%. But some of you might know to combine some things, and the thing is, these change patch by patch, so you would have to specifically look at this stuff. And again, technically, tenacity doesn't stack multiplicatively, but it does. So there's some other things like this, and I'm hoping this video was at least good enough. Okay. All right, I'm getting done making this video, and I just wanted to add that slows don't stack. That's right, slows don't stack. If you have a 20% slow and a 30% slow on you, you're only 30% slowed. Having 5 slows on you, only the biggest slow affects you. They don't stack. That's it. I'm just adding this in. Slows don't stack. Okay, great. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for all you've done. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the video down below. Leave a comment on other things you want me to make videos on. Hopefully things that aren't as, I'm gonna call this needlessly complicated, because this system is truly needlessly complicated. There is no need for it to be this complicated. Okay, so yeah, make sure to join my Patreon. The link is in the description. That helps me out incredibly. That is extremely beneficial, and I really do appreciate all of you who go to that. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your time. I don't know how this video is gonna go, but I'm hoping it at least does somewhat well. So thank you, everybody.